Hello and welcome. My name is John Soulos, the Managing Director of Global Business Camps. Once again, it's my pleasure that you're joining me on this video. This is the second of 3 videos. Today we're going to be talking about the business growth model. And the business growth model is about taking your profit and loss and looking deeper into the things that you can control to actually give you the outcomes that you want. It's not just the profit and loss that you look at, you've got to look behind it. I've put together a really cool video and PowerPoint presentation that I want to take you to right now. Today we're going to be talking about the business growth model. And the next time we get together we're going to be talking about the profit possibilities calculator, which will tie a lot of this stuff in. Before we start, well actually we've already started, but the profit and loss is a great place to start. And the key question is, how does the profit and loss work? People often pull out of their MYOB system their profit and loss, or another system, or receive their profit and loss from their advisors, and it's, hey, what does it all mean? Obviously there's a line there that says annual sales, or annual income, or annual revenue, less your cost of goods sold. So for a retail or manufacturing business, that would be all the goods that you get in to actually manufacture or to actually on sell. And cost of goods sold can also apply to service business, even though people think it may not. Take, for example, a legal firm where a lawyer spends time on a matter, on a job, and all of a sudden that matter gets invoiced. Now, the lawyer's salaries or the lawyer's costs are really directly related to the annual sales of that matter. So you can actually put all your direct expenses or your direct salaries in that, if you like, for a service-related business. So if you know what I mean, the profit and loss that I've got on the screen pretty much relates to most businesses. From that we get our gross profit. After the gross profit, you've got to take away all your expenses, whether it's rent, whether it's advertising, whether it's bank charges, whether it's interest, and so forth. We then have a net profit, and hopefully it always is a net profit, but in some instances there are net losses. And we need to obviously get in there and do something about that pretty quickly. What you'll notice is that some of those boxes are clear or white, and some of them are coloured. What I'm saying with the boxes that are clear or white is that they are outcomes. They are derivatives of other things. You cannot control that. Whereas the coloured boxes are things that we can control. So for example, our cost of goods sold, we can go to our suppliers and try to get a better deal, or we can look for other suppliers. Or if you're going to put your direct wages in that, as I mentioned the example for a professional services firm, which you could do, you can go to your team and try to negotiate the salaries. Same thing with the expenses. You can actually look at cutting some costs or adding costs. So they're controllable. You're probably thinking now, what is John talking about? He's completely lost the plot. How can he say that annual sales are not controllable? They're outcomes. The reason I say that is this. You've got your existing customers. You cannot control the customers you've got because you've got them. What you can control, however, is how many new customers you get in. And that's number of leads times by our conversion rate equals new customers. You can also control customers lost. So if we take care of our customers, if we look after them, if our team is great in servicing our customers, we will obviously reduce the amount of customers we lose. And then an outcome or a derivative is our total customers. So as you can see, there are things there that we can control. We can't control existing customers because they're there. We can control new customers. We can control the customers we lose. We end up with total customers. If you look at that, another way, some of the strategies you can put in place are the things below. Sales systems, offers, have something, what unique core differentiators in your business, what is unique about your business, have what they call a 30-second elevator pitch. So whenever you get in a situation where you need to promote what you do, you can actually do that quite easily, and it sounds like you know what you're on about. By having awesome service, another example, you can actually make sure that you get more customers of the type you want and you keep the ones that you've already got. Having special events, I'm not going to spend too much time on these, I'm just touching on them. There is more information on these if you want to. The other thing there, once you've got your total customers, obviously they transact with you every year. So the transactions per year. Now, the transactions per year you can control because you can try to put strategies in place to get your customers to come in more often. What are some of those strategies? Obviously, it's looking at your database. And if you haven't got a database, you should be looking at how you can get one pretty quickly, because if you remember from the first time we met, or from the first video, I talked about contacting your customers and how important your customers are in terms of an asset to your business. Now, it's an interesting asset because it doesn't actually appear on your balance sheet, but it is a valuable asset of your business. You should also look at classifying your customers. And from experience, 20% of customers or 20% of products or 20% of services generally give you 80% of your profit. So you should try classifying your customers. You should wow your customers. You should make offers to them, have a guarantee. Typically, most businesses have a guarantee. If someone comes and buys something from your business and they're not happy with the service or the product, I'm sure you will actually work out a way you can fix the problem. And worst case scenario, you would actually give their money back. So the only issue with it is we don't actually shout our guarantees from the trees or the rooftops, and we should, because it reduces the risk. If you remember from the first video, I talked about decreasing the risk, increases the multiple, increases the business value. This is exactly the same. If we take away the risk for people to deal with us, they will deal with us more often. And it's typically we will give them great service, and the guarantee is just there just for comfort. You could have questionnaires, you could have follow-up and ongoing follow-up. Very important stuff. The other thing we can control is the average transaction value. Now, people come to us and they come to us to buy certain things, to get a service or a product. So the average transaction value is something that is controllable. Let's just look at some examples. You can have cross-selling, upselling, or bundling. You can actually put things together that you know customers need to use together. That is one strategy. Pricing. It's very important that you do not discount and you instead add value, and then you focus on increasing your prices, because I've had plenty of businesses come to me and say, well, I've got a major competitor coming down the road, I'm going to discount because I don't want to lose my customers. Well, the question I've got is, if they're already your customers, you must have some form of relationship. So why would you potentially lose them? Well, because of price. That is not necessarily the case. And as we talked earlier in the first video, that product, price and time is 14% of the reason why people leave only. So it is an interesting statistic when you think about it. You can put checklists in place to increase the average transaction value so your team knows what they're talking about. You can continuously contact your customers, give them thank you gifts, newsletters, emails, and so forth. It's important you educate your customers on the value that you're giving them and how you can help them. It's also important you educate your team so they can make sure that they take care of your customers. I'm also going to look at the fourth and the fifth key business building strategy. And the reason I'm looking at this is because the fourth one is all about having effective systems and processes. Now, if we can do that, then our business will actually do the things consistently. So we will have better outcomes, better results. Our customers will be happier. By having effective processes, it actually helps us work on and not in our business. It helps us develop our core values, our mission, and our vision. It helps us in terms of communication. We've got to communicate to our team. We've got to have them to be engaged and have buy-in. We also, in turn, need to communicate with our customers, our clients, and our patients. The fifth key business building strategy is about building a committed team. Now, without a committed team, your systems and processes won't work, which means the other things in your business won't work consistently. You've got to have the right culture. And if you remember from the video that we had recently, the first video, I talked about culture and I talked about how important it is, and I talked about how highly rated it is in businesses by the business owners and the CEOs. Also, you should be looking at people development systems, induction programs, communication, training and rewards. Tying this part of the presentation up, if you can have all 5 of them working together, remember you can control 1, 2 and 3. The way you can control them is by having systems and processes in 4 and a committed team in 5. You get the synergy aspect, you get better outcomes, better results. We've got our existing customers, We have our new customers, which we can control how we get our new customers, and you can see number of leads times by conversion rate equals our new customers. We've got the customers we lose, we can control that. We end up with our total customers for the year. We can't control the total customers, but we can control the things within it. We then have the transactions per year. We can control that. We can increase it by putting strategies in place that we've talked about. We also have the average transaction value, which once again, we can control that by the strategies we've talked about. All of this calculation, this process actually then gets our annual sales to come out. So when I said at the start that you can't control your annual sales, I was correct. You can actually control the things within it, and they are the important areas. Then you've got your less cost of goods sold. That will give us our gross profit. We then take away our expenses. That will give us our net profit. So when you look at your profit and loss that you pull out of your MYOB system, any other system, or provided to you by your advisors, look at it with the numbers, but look behind. Go through the process that we've just gone through. Look at your business growth model in your business. So the question is, how can we control the things we can control? And one of the avenues has to do with the customer experience, and we've talked about that. So the thing is, anytime a customer comes into contact with any aspect of your business or of a business, however remote you may think it is a massive opportunity to form an impression, and we should not let that opportunity go by. Just being good enough is certainly no longer enough. Now we live in the experience age. We have to be memorable when we contact or when we deal with our customers. People are always looking for the wow moment or the experience or the great time. So we've got to make sure, even if they come into a doctor's surgery, a retail store or a manufacturing business, that there is a bit of a wow moment there. They've got to remember us. We've got to stay in their mind. Bain & Company did some research, and this is interesting because 80% of businesses believe they deliver a superior customer experience. However, on the other side, their customers didn't agree. They actually said that only 8% of their customers agree. So what a massive result that is. That's poles apart. So the opportunity there is that we do something about it. If we think everything's okay and let that go, this is a wasted opportunity for us. The lessons. Customer perception is reality. If the customer believes that there is an issue or that you don't care or that you actually didn't treat them right, it is correct because they believe it. So perception is reality. So we've got to do something about that. We've got to give them the wow moment. We should also be listening to our customers at all times. They will tell us how to become more profitable. And Richard Branson, in a recent interview, actually puts it this way. He says, you've got to listen to your customers. They will actually help you build your business. And he says he walks around with a notepad and takes notes of whatever he hears on opportunities that he can build his business. So if he gets feedback, he relays the feedback back. The other thing is, you've got to change the perception, because then if you change the perception, you can in turn increase your prices. If you take the focus away from the price and you put the focus on value, outcomes, solutions, experiences, you can move your prices up. The ultimate question was put forward by Frederick Reichheld in his book, The Loyalty Effect. And he said, why do customers leave and why don't they refer? And he's got a calculation that he does. But for this instance, he says a 15% increase in customer loyalty can actually increase profitability by up to 80%. Now, when you think about that, how important is customer loyalty? It's massive. How important is our customer base? Once again, it is massive. So we've got to take care of our customers. We've got to give them what they need. Ray Kroc puts it this way. He says, look after the customer and the business will in turn take care of itself. Well guys, the next video has a real treat for you. It's all about our profit possibilities calculator. And there is an awesome value in there in little changes that you can implement in your business. If you haven't in the meantime, sign up for our newsletter over here on the right and we'll let you know as soon as that video comes out.